My congratulations to the President, new President of Poland, and to all the Polish people.
I want to congratulate the winner, and I look very much forward to working together on all these issues and making sure that with Poland, NATO becomes even stronger than it is today.
Poland has just elected a new president, and the outcome is likely to reshape not only the country's politics, but also its relationship with the European Union, Ukraine, and even the United States. In a closely fought runoff election, 42-year-old nationalist historian Karol Nawrocki defeated liberal challenger Rafal Trzaskowski, the pro-European mayor of Warsaw, by a razor-thin margin of just under 2%. Official results gave Nawrocki 50.9% of the vote, while Trzaskowski secured 49.1%. A sign of how divided Poland remains. Nawrocki is a vocal critic of what he calls EU interference in Poland's domestic affairs, especially on judicial reforms, LGBTQ rights, and refugee policies, which he claims threaten Polish sovereignty. Nawrocki supports traditional Catholic values and says Poland must stand firm against pressure from Brussels and Berlin. Nawrocki will take office in August, and his presidency may increase friction with Poland's centrist pro-EU government. His election is also a setback for Brussels, which had welcomed Tusk's return as a sign that Poland was moving back toward the European mainstream after years of nationalist rule. The new president has veto power over laws, meaning he can stall government plans unless Parliament overrides him. Prime Minister Donald Tusk leads a fragile coalition that lacks the votes needed to overturn a presidential veto. Pro-EU Tusk wants to restore ties with the European Union and pass reforms on abortion and civil unions. But Nawrocki stands in his way. Nawrocki is also seen as a close ally of Donald Trump and visited the White House during his campaign last month. Trump reportedly told Nawrocki, "You will win," and other Trump allies have endorsed him, including DHS Secretary Kristi Noem. While Nawrocki says he supports Ukraine's fight against Russia, he is skeptical about Kyiv joining NATO and has proposed cutting benefits for Ukrainian refugees living in Poland. And that could weaken Poland's strong support for Ukraine and shift the tone of future cooperation between the two countries. His tougher stance on refugees reflects a broader shift in public opinion, as many Poles grow weary of the long-term costs of supporting millions of Ukrainians displaced by war. That shift could have major consequences for Ukraine, which has relied heavily on Poland as a key ally in its battle for international aid and support on the path to EU and NATO membership.
My congratulations to the President, new President of Poland, and I already congratulated by messaging. But I think that I hope that in the closest time we will have opportunity to speak. And Poland is our big friend and strong neighbor, and we respect the voting and of course voting of Polish people. And my congratulations to the new president and to all the Polish people. Thank you so much.
Yes, of course, I followed the presidential elections. It seems there is now a result, an official result, if I'm not mistaken. And of course, I want to congratulate the winner. And I look very much forward to working together on all these issues and making sure that with Poland, NATO becomes even stronger than it is today.
For your comment about the result of the Polish presidential election, and how do you see as the European Commission of a future collaboration with the President, whose policies are quite obviously anti-European Union, especially in the fields of migration, green policies, future Ukraine access to the European Union, and defense?
Thank you. Well, we welcome any democratically elected president or head of state. President von der Leyen had the opportunity already earlier this morning to post on social media her congratulatory message. And as always, we will seek good cooperation, building on the very good cooperation that we have with Poland. And this is what also President von der Leyen is looking forward to with the new president elected now by the Polish population. There, Angela.
Angela Scugins from TVP World. Just following on from my colleague's comment, is there any scheduled meetings between von der Leyen and Nawrocki in the future regarding his presidential appointment? And I'm particularly curious about those law reforms. Is the Commission confident that these are going to happen, or is there any friction regarding those hundreds of billions of euros that are still frozen? Are you confident that those reforms will still occur? Thank you.
Thank you, Angela. Now, regarding any meeting, it's of course really very, very early to already have any meeting scheduled. I mean, the results are there for less than 24 hours now, but I would expect that soon such a meeting could take place. And it's also early for us to comment on any possible future measures by the new president, and we'll have to wait and see what comes out from his presidency. No? No. Yes, here, please.
But also it's another subject, not on Polish presidency.
Sylvia.
Thank you very much, Silvia Yusuf from El País newspaper. 2 questions on this. A year ago, the Commission proposed and managed to close the Article 7, the procedure on Poland, and it was based on the confidence that those some reforms were going to be made. The president of Poland has a lot of power, and he has to sign the laws. Are you maybe afraid that it was a bit that there was a bit wishful thinking, it was too premature to close the procedure at that stage? Is this anyhow reversible? And a second question, President von der Leyen, when she received the Car Prize last week, she warned exactly, she said, when I see the rise of extremist parties or illiberal tendencies across Europe, it concerns me. She said, we have to address these kind of things. Another party that is quite against EU values has risen in Poland. Is there a strategy, something to combat, to persuade citizens that it's not the way to continue the EU path?
Well, first of all, of course, we are confident that the reforms that have been started by the Polish government will be pursued and will continue. And with regard, indeed, to the communication to everyone, to the population across the EU, young and less young, about the EU values is something that we actively do. And you mentioned yourself the speech by President von der Leyen at the award of the Charlemagne Prize last week, which is a good example and which captures well what is the message that we want to convey to everyone in terms of what are the values that we believe, that we share, and why is it that it is worth defending those values, and that obviously we are all stronger together. And we will continue to convey those messages, and to try also to persuade those who may not be convinced about it from the outset. President von der Leyen has said it several times, and if I remember correctly, again also during the speech, that she knows well the need to reach out also to those who may see things differently. And that's precisely where we also need to invest in terms of our communication, in terms of the arguments that we put forward.